Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys That Matter. This is Hunter, Steven, David, and Shane. Say what up, boys.
Yo,
Hello.
what up, nerds?
We are back. This time we are taking a look at the Brothers' War. These are the multicolored legendary creatures that can be your commander. So we're going to head and take a look at all of these, grade them, and let you guys know if we think you should build it or not. But before we get started, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, and like the video if you liked it as well. So let's jump right into it with this first one. This is the Archimandrite. The Archimandrite is 2, a blue, a red, and a white for a 0/5 legendary creature human advisor. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life, where X is the number of cards in your hand minus 4. And whenever you gain life, each advisor, artificer, and monk you control gains vigilance and gets plus X plus 0 until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. You can also tap 3 untapped advisors, artificers, and or monks you control to draw a card. It's a lot of text on this Archimandrite. David, what do we think?
I think this reminds me of like the old Commander precons that they used to make back forever ago. This card feeds itself. You don't need to actually build like any lane in order for this to just do what it wants to do. So I don't know. I think that this card honestly is probably really good, even in a bad deck.
Yeah. I feel I did the number crunch. You guys ready for this?
Yep. I don't think you need a tribal support at all here.
This is based on tribal. What do you mean?
It feeds itself. That's my thought. I mean, this strikes me more as like a Voltron commander that's going to reward you for gaining life and going to reward you for drawing cards, and like it double rewards you kind of for the card draw there. I mean, you just play card draw and beat face with this thing, and your opponent's going to be really hurting.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're drawing cards too. If you tap the stuff, which
Hunter sounds
yeah,
like a
in
hurt puppy
turn,
dog right now.
when
If you
you-
tapped 3 of them though, like I don't think I'm ever doing that. To be completely honest, there's just more efficient ways for you to draw cards than tap 3 of your creatures.
Just shitting all over your dreams, Hunter.
I'm gonna do the number crunch anyways. 49 advisors, 117 artificers, and 78 monks in these colors. It's quite a lot, more than I expected, to be honest.
There's only one advisor that makes sense.
Which is
Who?
Persistent petitioners.
I don't know what that is.
1 in a blue.
Tap it and
You
mill it.
can pay 1, tap it, target player puts the top card of their library into the graveyard. Best part about it, a deck can have any number of cards named persistent petitioners.
All right.
That's dumb. I mean,
And then
there
if
you
tap
go.
4 of them, you can have the target player put 12 into their graveyard.
Yeah, so if you fill up your deck full of a bunch of cards with the tap ability to mill your opponents, and you choose not to use that ability just because of the relevant creature type, you can tap 3 of them to draw a card and give this thing +1/+0 until end of turn.
What do you think of this card, Shane?
I think that on the surface, David's correct. It doesn't need support, but I think that the support is what's going to make it really cool because this kind of seems like it wants to be a pillow fort deck where you kind of hang back, have a big hand size, do some cool things with that, and then have big old fatty blockers that will then get vigilance and plus for power. That seems pretty lit.
I completely disagree with that.
That's fine. This is like a controlled deck's dream, dude.
I mean, I get it, but to me, this is more aggro than it is control.
Yeah, this
mean-
is not control for me either.
Nah, you guys can build it the way you build it, but this is what I'm thinking. It's a pillow fort hangback.
I mean, if my creatures are getting vigilance and they're getting plus X plus 0 until end of turn, where X is the life I'm gaining, I'm 100% building a deck that's swinging for the fucking fences.
So that's the point. Yeah, you can swing. You have vigilance, dude. But I mean, what? You're just gonna build little like shitters?
I mean, you can build little shitters, but at the same time, there's tons. Like Hunter said, there are 49 advisors, 117 artificers, and 78 monks. The best thing about it is, granted, advisors aren't technically the toughest creatures, but they have a bunch of text that allows you to find everything that you might need. Like they have tons of ETB effects. Like this is going to be nuts. Like I mean, I agree with David. This might be more Voltron-y, but at the same time, I like Hunter's point where this with the support is going to be really amazing.
I'm also going to agree with David that it does feel like a old precon commander. But let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start again with David. David, what are we giving it?
I'm gonna give it a B. I think that this is like what I said. It feeds itself. So this is a very powerful effect. You're gonna be rewarded for just simply playing the game. I think that this has such an incredibly high floor that it's gonna be a B.
I'm going to agree with you there. I'm giving this a B as well.
I'm gonna jump on the B train.
It's got an incredibly high floor, dude. That's why it has a B.
There we go. All 4 Bs. That average here is going to be a B. Moving on to Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard. Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard is a green and a red for a 3/3 legendary creature human soldier. It says, sacrifice Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard. Legendary creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible until end of turn.
So are we talking about this, or are we moving straight to grades?
We're moving straight to grades. This card is awful.
This card is interesting. I
It would
mean,
protect your commander, dude.
it protects,
But
but
meaning it's
doesn't
not as a commander.
actually. It doesn't dodge any exile effects, which mostly is run in Commander.
EDH. Yeah.
David, how have we not moved on to grade yet?
I don't know. This card is absolutely awful. It's a horrible card. It does nothing until it dies, and even whenever it does the thing, it's not impressive.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Let's move on to the grades, Dave. What are we giving it?
It's an F.
Yeah, normally I give things that do things like a D, but this is a shitty thing, so this is an F.
I'm actually gonna give it an F as well.
Oh.
This is
I guess we're all just gonna give it an F then, dude.
yeah. So Hajar, Loyal Bodyguard. The average here is going to be a big ol' F. Moving on to Harbin, Vanguard, Aviator. Harbin, Vanguard, Aviator is a white and a blue for a 3/2 legendary creature human soldier. It's got flying. It says whenever you attack with 5 or more soldiers, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain flying until end of turn. This is really good soldier. Currently in standard, got the chance to play with this. It's very powerful. But is it powerful as a commander? I think it could be if you build around it appropriately. You can
Really?
definitely build a lot of soldiers around this. Yeah.
I don't think it does enough, dude.
I'm with Shane. I don't think it does enough either.
For a commander, at least.
All you gotta do is swing them with 5 and they all get flying and +1/+1. That's a
It
lot of
minim-
damage.
That's all it does.
Yeah, it minimally pumps your team and gives them an evasion, which is cool. But like your opponents are going to see this coming, and somebody at the table is probably going to have removal at some point. This is a commander that like you're going to wait until they are getting ready to go to combat, and you think that they're coming at you, and then you just kill this thing, and your opponent's sad. I mean, he's not difficult to recast, but he does nothing unless the board is already in your favor.
Little tokens, little soldier tokens. That's all you
A
need.
win more card, dude.
This is a go wide strategy. It's very doable.
I mean, I agree. It is very doable, but at the same time, the second this card is removed, your doableness goes not doable.
That was a thick sentence, dude.
Big sentences make sense.
Good words.
I don't know. I disagree with you guys. I think this is pretty cool.
I think it's really
think this
cool in the
is- sorry,
99,
Shane.
dude. Very good. That's all I was gonna say.
I mean, I agree. It's good in the 99. I think this card is cool. I just don't think this is commander worthy. I think this is standard worthy.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, back to back 2 drops. What are we thinking? Let's go to the grades then. Steven, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it a D. I think that it is cool, but it does something. It's very minimal. It's there.
Same C's with Steven. I'm also going to give it a D. I think it's a little too situational for me.
I'm gonna give it a D as well. I love these colors. I love soldiers. Still a D.
I'm giving it a C. I think it is an average commander, and I could think it can do what it needs to do. That go wide strategy. But this average here is going to be a D. Moving on to Mishra, claimed by Gix. Mishra, claimed by Gix, is 2, a black and a red for a 3/5 legendary creature Phyrexian human advisor. It says whenever you attack, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of attacking creatures. If Mishra, claimed by Gix, and a creature named Phyrexian Dragon Engine are attacking, and you both own and control them, exile them, and then meld them into Mishra lost to Phyrexia. It enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. So,
We should not let David go first.
I just want to say David has built this deck already. He owns it. He's played it against us, and he's very good with it.
That's why we should not go first.
Also, take a look in the description if you guys haven't done so already. There's a link to an EDH deck tech of this card. Shane, what do we think of this card?
I'm not going to look at any of David's notes. I do not want to steal his thunder, but I'm going to tell you right now, after seeing it in play and after learning what I've learned, this card is an all-star. Like, this card is fantastic. It does stuff for just sticking around, and when you do get to meld it, it still does its thing times 1,000, and it is the biggest threat. Like, we need to deal with that immediately.
Yeah, in case Shane's alluding to, when it does meld, it still does the commander damage. Let's talk about the meld side real quick. This is Mishra, Lost to Phyrexia. It comes in as a 9/9 that says whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you can choose 3. You can have target opponent discard 2 cards. You can have it deal 3 damage to any target. You can destroy target artifact or planeswalker. You can have creatures you control gain menace and trample until end of turn. You can have creatures you don't control get -1/-1 until end of turn. And you can create 2 tapped Power Stone tokens.
Yeah, beast. And I mean, obviously, we don't want to talk about situationally the game we played because the people that are listening were involved in that game. But this card is a all-star.
It gets out of hand very quickly and hurts my life. I kind of saw this in action, hurt my feelings. Dave, don't do good to me. Steven?
I mean, I don't really know what else there is to say about this guy. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, the fact that when you attack with a whole bunch of creatures, you're doing a bunch of damage to everyone and you're gaining life. That's sick, dude. I mean, just that alone is really solid. Not even to include the fact that you can meld him and then just be even worse. I mean, when I think kill on sight, this is definitely up there with the kill on sight commanders.
And he's not like selfish. He's very not selfish, which is amazing.
I think my favorite part about it, if I'm honest with you, is that you also don't have to wait to attack with him. You can just move to combat, attack with like 4 or 5 creatures that you may have played before this, and then his ability goes on the stack. Like it's solid, man.
Very. Let's hear it from the man now, I think.
I think this card is okay at best. If it were a 4/5, I think it probably would have sold me.
I hate you so much, kid.
Nah, I'm just playing with you. I did build this deck in paper. I think this commander is a lot of fun. As everybody else has already kind of mentioned, he really punishes everybody at the table. I built the deck, and go ahead and check out the deck tech below. It's Hunter had already mentioned, but it's really it's a token-based strategy. It's not very difficult for you to have 4 or 5 tokens in play before you even drop this thing on turn 4. And then at that point, whenever you swing it in, you're potentially dealing 4 damage to everybody with those tokens, for example, and then you're going to hit that other person that you actually swung out an extra time. So the life gain and life drain on this card is very real, and it is a card that your opponents are going to have to pay attention to. Plus, unlike some of the other meld pairings, Mishra is very easy to be able to meld because his partner pairing has Unearth, so you can bring it back from the graveyard.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. But yeah, so I think we're all on board with the exact same philosophy here. Let's move on to the grades. I am going to give this a B.
I mean, yeah, man, I'm right there with you. I think this is a solid B. I think really the only thing that's stopping it from being an A is just the fact that this is probably gonna fucking die really quickly.
I'm gonna say it, dude. This is an A. I don't even play these colors. This is a fucking A.
I'm sticking with a B on this one because the deck generally doesn't do a whole lot if Mishra does die. So I agree with Steven's point.
All right. Well, this average here is going to be a B. Moving on to another Mishra. This is Mishra, Tamer of Fawa. Mishra, Tamer of Fawa is 3, a black and a red for a 4/4 legendary creature human artificer. It says permanents you control have ward, sacrifice a permanent. And each artifact in your graveyard has unearth 1, a black and a red. We'll start with Shane. What do you think?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Okay.
You're just talking about how you don't normally play Rakdos. Now let's
Yeah,
talk
I know.
about
That's why
Rakdos.
I was very high on the last Rakdos. It's still Mishra, and I know that this card is good, but this is gonna deal a lot more with, reanimator decks, I'd imagine, and that's cool. You can just start dumping your library into your graveyard and have access to tons of shit out of nowhere, which is cool. It is a little expensive, dude. 5 mana, but I think with the ward and with the unearth of everything in your graveyard, it's probably warranted.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, this is the best ward I've ever seen on a card. And there was that one that was like what, ward 10 or something.
That was just ridiculous, though.
But sacrifice a permanent. Yikes.
I mean, that could also be a little bit more situational. Like if you're playing up against a deck that uses a lot of tokens, they may not really care about the sacrifice of permanent if they're just
That's
going to
true.
off like a 1/1 soldier or something.
That is true.
Yeah, I see it as being built as board wipe tribal.
Sounds like a not fun deck to play against.
Board wipe tribal. Okay.
You know, interestingly enough, I actually don't see that. I look at the unearth ability on this, and I really think that I want to be reanimating some big things, and then potentially trying to, I don't know, make copies of them or in the turn. That way, I can get that unearth to stick around.
I mean, I agree with you, but at the same time, I'm just like I think that's you're playing these massive beaters, or you're playing these cards with like either ETBs or on death triggers, and then you can basically just use the unearth, especially like after you board wipe tribal.
I won't go board wipe tribal, but I will bounce on what David was saying. Kind of like a reanimator deck I go with. Giant artifact creatures. Just cast them for 3. Bring them in
know
for
what?
1 turn. Sounds pretty
You
good.
know what would be great in this deck, Hunter?
What's that?
A new little thing we saw this set called Prototype.
Prototype. Yeah, that's
You play them for cheap, they die, you reanimate them, you get the actual body.
for a turn, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's what Unearth does.
Yeah, I see that. That'd be cool.
I don't know.
I
I think this card is really cool, but I definitely see people at the end of the day paying that ward cost to get rid of this fucking card really quickly. And
Which
then I
is
think
totally
it's just going to
fine.
get out of hand with the cost.
I can agree with that as well. I think that there is going to be that person at the table that looks at it and says, okay, well, you know what? I can live without this mana rocker. Setting me back on this creature is really not going to hurt me by a ton, and that they are willing to off this thing. At the bare minimum, though, I mean, that's not to be dismissive. This is still a good card.
100%.
Let's move on to the grades. Shane, what do you say?
I say it's a C. It's strong.
I'm
But
actually gonna join you there. I'm gonna give this a C. Not as strong as the other Mishra.
I'm going to give this a B. I think, although it may not be as strong, I think that the abilities on this are just as amazing. So for that fact, I'm going to give it a B. But same thing on the other one, kill on sight. So that's why it's not getting any higher in my book.
I don't really think I want to compare the two because I feel like they're very different decks. I do think that this may be a little bit more on the Artifact Reanimator and potentially Artifact Lock. I think this card is still very powerful, so I'm going to give it a B as well.
All right. Well, the average there for this Mishra is a B. Moving on to Queen Kayla bin-Kroog. Queen Kayla bin-Kroog is 1 a red and a white for a 2/3 legendary creature, Human Noble. Has an ability where you can pay 4 and tap it to discard all the cards in your hand, then draw that many cards. You may choose an artifact or creature card with mana value 1 you discarded this way, then do the same for artifact or creature cards with mana values 2 and 3. Return those cards to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Real quick before we move on, this was also created as a EDH deck tech by David, so check the description for that one too if you haven't seen that one. Also very good. So let's start with David, the builder of said deck. What do you think of this?
I think there's two different kind of ways that you can go with this. The first one is you go with like an artifact wheel / lock deck, because there are tons of 1 mana, 2 mana, and 3 mana artifacts that you'll probably be discarding and then just cheating directly into play. The other way that you could go about building this, and Shane's going to absolutely love it, is this is a way for you to be able to drop stacks pieces without having to worry about actually ever casting them. So you do have to pay 4 mana. It wheels your hand, so that can be kind of an advantage. You're going to be building up your graveyard, so there are potential reanimation strategies there. You're also going to be just dropping these things into play, so in a way, your opponents can't counter them.
like playing a land, baby.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they can counter ability, right?
They can counter an ability, yes, but there are very few cards out there that do have the ability to do that. I'm just saying, like, if your opponent has a counterspell in hand, that's not going to do any good, and you are cheating those things in play. The downside, of course, being is that you do have to have things in play worth discarding, but if you build the deck correctly, it really shouldn't be much of a problem. You're going to hit most of the time.
Yeah, dude. Three cards for 4 mana seems very good. As long as you
Card
can
hurts
refill
my
your
brain,
hand.
dude. I'm not gonna lie to you.
This card hurt your brain.
Yeah,
Well,
I would not. This this hurts me so bad.
I would just like to say that David did make a really good deck tech on the channel, and it made me really like this card. So, yes,
As long,
Queen.
yeah. As long as you have the ability to drop again, dude, you're big chilling with this card.
Yeah, there's ways to make the ability even cheaper to activate too. There's plenty of ways to tap and untap her to where you can rinse and repeat. Generally speaking, I mean, Boros commanders are almost always either about equipment or big smashy smash. So I love to see them take this in a little bit of a different direction. I think this is really creative, and I would hope to see more Boros commanders like this in the future.
Wait, I'm dumb. She draws you the cards. Oh Jesus. Okay.
You wheel your hand. She's not
Yeah,
actually like
yeah,
it's not a net negative.
yeah. That makes a lot of sense now.
All
Read
right,
your cards, kids.
let's move on to the grades. Deck Tech Master, what are we giving it?
I'm going to give it a B. It is a little bit fragile. There is the opportunity for you to whiff, but I do think that the power is there. It's got a really potentially really high ceiling, and she can lock your opponents out of the game out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'll jump on board with you. That is a B from me as well.
I'm gonna give this a C. My brain hurts.
Well, since I figured out how to read, I'm gonna give it a B as well. I found the card draw.
All right. Well, that average for Queen Kayla is going to be a bin-Kroog. Get it?
Oh my god.
Oh,
That's a B. Moving on to Tawnos, the Toymaker. Tawnos, the Toymaker is 3, a green and a blue for a 3/5 legendary creature, human artificer. It says whenever you cast a beast or bird creature spell, you may copy it, except the copy is an artifact in addition to its other types. I
Hmm.
like this card.
I'm sure you do, Hunter.
Yeah. Here's the number crunch for you.
Yeah.
262 beasts and 136 birds in these colors.
We did not need this number crunch.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone here knew there was an abundance of beasts in green.
I like it. Seems good.
this card's great, dude.
Yeah.
Are we not thinking this is great? Somebody think
No,
this card's
I mean,
not great?
I mean, it's good.
I think it's okay.
It just
I
seems
love
kinda,
it.
yeah, I don't know.
I might build
Yeah,
it.
you should.
5 mana, dude.
Yeah, the coming in at 5 mana thing is not something that I'm super here for. That's starting to hit that point where it's like you're potentially playing with fire. If your opponents kill this 1 or 2 times, you might find yourself in a world where you can't recast it. And he's forcing me to play with birds and beasts, which is not. I don't want to say it's a bad tribe, but it's not a tribe that I think is going to be super optimal or well supported upon itself. Plus, he's the commander that, like, if he's not in play, my deck is really not doing anything.
What do you mean, dude? Casting birds and beasts.
Yeah, so like what I said,
Birds
it's
and
not really
beasts.
doing anything.
It's the birds and the beasts, dude.
Birds and
All right,
beasts and birds and
so
beasts.
I'm gonna say that obviously with this card being your commander, and you're playing birds and beasts. Specifically, let's talk about the beasts. 1 card, 2 card, 3 card. There's tons of beasts that cost a shit ton of mana, and obviously we're playing in Simic. We have green, we have ramp, we have blue, we have a ton of card draw. So for me, I don't really see the 5 mana cost here being too big of an issue. There are tons of beasts that have landfall triggers that are going to make you other beasts. There are tons of beasts that when you play creature cards of high cost, sorry, not high cost, but like high power, you're drawing cards on that as well. I don't think this card's going to hit a ceiling other than the fact that people are going to see that you're copying these massive threats and they're going to have to get rid of it constantly.
I don't know, man.
I mean, there are so many amazing creatures to play in this deck that are beasts and birds that are just fantastic.
Maybe I'm just a little bit low on like mid-rangey style of decks that I look at this and I don't think this has a whole lot of explosive power. I think this is a deck that is going to build itself into a board wipe and then just play the rebuild game until another board wipe hits. So I'm actually not very high on Tawnos.
I mean, all I gotta say is I wish I had Tawnos out, and then as soon as I play a rampaging Baloths, that's solid, dude.
Like, I
Solid,
mean,
brother.
it can do things. I'm not saying that it can't.
Or here's the best part, because we all love Ledger Shredder, right? 2 Ledger Shredders.
Yeah.
Ledgy shreddy, dude. Birds.
I just seems
I
boring.
really
dude.
wish you never said Ledgy Shreddy.
Oh, just cut it out, dude. Get out of here, Hunter.
Righteous.
No. That stays.
That's
All right, well, let's move on to the grades for Tawnos. I am giving this a B. I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump on there with you, man. This is a super solid commander.
B for beasts and birds.
I think it's a cool commander, and it gets a C. That's
I'm with
it, though.
Shane. It's a C.
Well, the average here for the beast and the bird commander Tawnos is a B.
Good.
Moving on to Tocasia Dig Site Mentor. Tocasia Dig Site Mentor is 1, a green, a white, and a blue for a 4/3 legendary creature, human artificer. It says creatures you control have vigilance and tap to surveil 1. If you guys don't remember, surveil is to look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard. Also, it has another ability where you can pay 2 green, 2 white, and 2 blue to exile Tocasia. Dig Site Mentor from your graveyard. Return any number of target artifacts with total mana value 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Seems good, man. Seems like a
Meh.
Tell me why, Hunter.
surveil's very good.
Well, I definitely agree with you, but
I mean, this seems like this would be a really good combo commander to me.
yeah.
Get to the combo as quick as possible, giving your creatures all surveil. Seems good.
You know, I'm actually not saying that.
Okay.
Like, in order for you to be able to rapidly dig through your deck, you're going to have a lot of creatures in play. And my thought on that is, if you're playing combo decks, you probably want to be as consistent as possible. Just play more tutors.
You can also surveil to get to your tutor.
Nobody
can.
likes combos.
It's not that nobody likes combos. It does take a certain audience. I mean, I like combos. I love combo decks. I know that Steven is the exact same way. I like the surveil on this card. I think its second ability is flavor text. I'm just not really here for I'm not really here for this card. I don't think that it really does as much as what it reads.
I mean, technically, you could pay 8 to put it back in your command zone.
I mean, you could pay 8, get 10 mana worth of stuff, maybe,
Yeah, you could.
and then pay 6.
Can we just go to the part where we move on?
Yep.
I mean,
You
it's not
guys
that
ready
bad.
to move on to Tocasia?
Yeah, I'm not high on this card.
Isn't this Urza and Mishra's teacher or something, David?
It is.
All right.
Wow. We can see why they want to destroy the world.
All right, let's move on to the grades. Steven, what are you giving it?
I mean, this is super middle of the road, dude. I'm gonna give this. God, I was gonna say C, but now I kind of want. It's gonna be a C. I mean, you can still like filter through your deck pretty good. If you don't want something on the top of your library, you can get rid of it. The second ability is a little aggressive in mana cost, but I mean, at the same time, it's still pretty decent. So, middle of the road, C.
I feel like I'm gonna say what I think Steven was about to say. Like, this is like a C minus, as if we were doing plus and minus grades. It scoots by as a C, but it's closer to a D. It's a C, but not a good one.
It's just so stupid.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a C as well. Middle of the road.
C, but I'm gonna give it a C as well. But I'm thinking it's a strong C. This ain't no weak
Oh.
C.
This ain't weak C. It's strong C. All right, Tocasia, your average grade here is a C. Moving on to one of our students. This is Urza, Lord Protector. Urza, Lord Protector, is 1 and a white and a blue for a 2/4 legendary creature, human artificer. It says artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Also has another ability where you can pay 7. It says if you both own and control Urza, Lord Protector, and an artifact named the Mightstone and the Weakstone, exile them, then meld them into Urza Planeswalker. Activate only as a sorcery. So let's talk about the card itself first, and then we'll talk about the backside. What do we think about this, David?
There are plenty of artifacts in the game that cost 1 mana, so that means that they're free. Instant and sorcery spells even being reduced just by 1. That's huge. I mean, this is going to reduce essentially, I don't know, 50, 60% of your deck by 1 mana. That's massive in terms of a tempo play. So on the back of just the first ability alone, I think this card is absolutely just monstrous. It's not ramp, but it is. It's such a huge cost reduction that I can see this easily saving you 4, 5, 6 mana a turn.
Is that deck called, David? Cheerios?
I mean, you could essentially play like a Cheerios, or I look at him and I think there's possibly a Storm Outlet here too, where you just dump a ton of things. Given that he's probably not in the best colors for it, but I think that you might still be able to put something together with that.
I would definitely agree, dude. I think I enjoy playing control decks where things are cheaper. I'll probably put it in a control E deck.
Would you make this deck?
I would.
Ooh.
And I would most certainly meld it, Hunter.
All right, well, then that's a good segue. Let's talk about the meld. When it does meld, it turns into Urza Planeswalker. It is a legendary Planeswalker with a starting loyalty of 7. It has a static ability that says you may activate the loyal abilities of Urza twice each turn rather than only once. Has a +2 that says artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast this turn cost 2 less to cast. You gain 2 life. Has a +1 ability that says draw 2 cards and discard a card. Has a 0 ability that says create 2 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens. It has a -3 ability that says exile target non-land permanent. And its ultimate, if you want to even call it that at this point, as a -10 that says artifacts and planeswalkers you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Destroy all non-land permanents. Got a
God,
lot
this is
going
amazing.
on.
It's got so much going on, Hunter. And
This
just oh, sorry.
is insane. Sorry,
Yeah.
Shane, go.
All I wanted to mention too is that this could very, very real, or not real. This could very, very much flip on turn 4 because of the way that the Mightstone Weakstone works, dude. Or maybe it'd be turn 5. Either way, it's super fast.
It would be turn 5.
Okay, sorry, turn 5. And then at that point, you get to use this ability twice. Like, that is insane, dude.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's very good.
If you get this Planeswalker to flip, if you get Urza Planeswalker in play, I mean, he deals with your opponent's boards. He generates you a massive board state very quickly. He generates you card advantage. If he sticks, you will lose the game.
Yep, I agree. You can try to get them to the ult as fast as you want to, if you need to.
It's a 2-turn ult.
Yeah. You just go +2/+2.
And that ult is a one-sided board wipe. It's going to blow up all of your opponent's ramp. It's going to take out all of their creatures. It's going to knock out any of their enchantments that they potentially have in play. Although, super important to note, it does kill your enchantments as well.
Well, it might not. With
Go
the right
on.
card on the field.
This still eats removal.
I mean,
you're playing blue, dude. Let's be real.
I'm at the very bare minimum here. Like, you're going to be playing some form of control, and their counter spells cost 1 less if they're playing Urza Lord Protector.
And if you plus them, that's even less of less.
Yeah, but all right, you spend 7 to flip him, and then you don't have that ability where your stuff costs 1 less.
Yeah, you have an ability where your stuff costs 2 less.
And
Yeah.
you get to plus it.
Which you can do.
Which you can
In
do, and then you can
response-
choose another mode too.
In response, kill it.
How many
Okay.
cards out there say destroy target planeswalker? Because I'm willing to bet there are fewer that see play in EDH than what you probably think.
I think destroyed target permanent is what you're looking for, but
Go for it.
Beast Within.
Okay.
Don't make
I
me
mean,
count
look,
all of them, dude.
I'm
There's like
not
3.
saying that they don't exist, but there's not very many. At instant speed that can take out a planeswalker, there's what, maybe 10 in the format?
And either way, dude, I'll just use my free counter spells if you're worried about that. Or wait one more turn.
I mean, yeah, dude, let's be honest. I mean, if you're playing this, you're going to have the protection up and ready.
I would hope you do. Because at that point, like they were saying, it's a lock, dude. You got the game, you're going.
And that's we're just fixated right now on the planeswalker. The face card alone, just Urza Lord Protector, is a slam dunk.
Yeah,
He's
it's
cheap.
good.
He ramps. He generates a massive amount of value for you.
Yeah, I'll say it. It's good.
See, I think the thing is, though, Hunter, which I get to, you just don't play these colors. You don't care.
I understand the powerfulness of Urza Planeswalker. I just don't see, like you guys are saying, it wins on the spot. I don't see how it wins on the spot.
Well, okay. We weren't saying it wins exactly the spot. It's more of a lock.
If it gets to your turn again, you win.
I am there because I mean, like at the very bare minimum with this, you +2, so that you pump them up in loyalty, and you put 2 blockers out in front by the 0. The following turn, you plus him, and then you ult, and he still lives throughout all of that too.
Pretty sick.
Yeah, not to
Yep.
mention you can also just put a Mycosynth Lattice in this deck. Just call it a day.
Destroy all of your opponent's lands. That's a cool little effect.
Well, let's move on to the grades then.
I'm ready.
What are you giving it, Shane?
I'm giving it an A for awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll join you there, Shane. I think that's a solid call. This is definitely an A.
I've already argued my point. I am in agreement. This is an A.
Drum roll,
Say it.
please.
Say it, Hunter.
This is a B.
You still went up.
Yeah, we still talked him up.
Talk to me up a
He
little
was
bit.
at a C. He was at a
Was
C
at a C.
audience.
Yeah,
I'll
because
just say that. I'm sorry.
I just wasn't looking at Urza as a planeswalker on the other side. I was just looking at this. And
I think Urza Lord Protector is still an A.
Yeah, it's just the one thing though. I mean, I get it. Makes stuff one less cost. That's great. That's a good effect. But the average grade here is going to be an A.
I
Moving
think
on
they,
to the
I think that it's kind of cool because like on the last set we had Sten Paranoid Partition, and basically same thing. It's a white and a blue, but it basically when it enters the battlefield you choose a card type and then spells of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. Where this is like way fucking better, where artifact, instant, and sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast. I'm kind of glad that they went this route.
We can't stop talking about it, Hunter. We're that stoked.
Moving on to the final card. This is a younger version of Urza. This is Urza, Prince of Kroog. Urza, Prince of Kroog is 2, a white and a blue for a 2/3 legendary creature, human artificer. It says artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. And as ability where you can pay 6, create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control, except it is a 1/1 soldier creature in addition to its other types. Shane, what is this?
That's a lord.
It is an artifact creature lord.
It's still a lord, dude.
Very interesting.
It's very interesting.
One of these days I'm going to ask Shane this question. Shane, what is this? On a card that's not a lord, just to see what his response is going to be.
It's a lord.
I
feel
might
like
just still say a lord.
I know. I feel like he's Pavloved you at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also Pavlov Shane for this one. Shane, what sound does the train make?
Wah, wah.
Hey, this is a pricey copy effect. 6 mana.
It's basically Marnius, man. Like it's Marnius without the swamps, and then add some
What?
pump.
What? How's that make sense?
And minus card draw.
Yeah.
He's making the comparison because they're similar in terms of overall play, and they both make tokens for an egregious amount of mana.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm in this, and obviously, like David said earlier, combos. Like I'm in this for the combo aspect of it.
I mean, I will say that making a token of an artifact that is already pretty strong might be pretty good.
I mean, all you need to do is make a token of a Power Stone shard, which for everyone at home, a Power Stone shard costs 3 colorless, and you can tap it. You add a colorless for each artifact you control named Power Stone shard.
You in a shirt?
Okay. I wrote this seems really good in the Urza Precon deck. That's Urza's Iron Alliance. I think it fits.
I mean,
nicely in
they're
that.
wearing the same outfit.
You're telling me that they're both Urza?
Whoa.
Wait, actually, he doesn't change his clothes much, huh?
Yep.
He likes
You
robes.
know that-
Okay.
It's kind of cool though. The 1/1 he makes is actually always going to be, not always, I guess, but when it's on the field, a 3/3.
I love the fact too, by the way, that you're not having to copy a target artifact creature; it just says copy target artifact. So,
Yeah.
like what Steven mentioned earlier, it does open up like what you can do with this card.
Mm-hmm.
The nutty things, dude.
Also, my favorite
Nothing.
part is that it's pay 6 and you don't have to tap this.
So you can dump mana into it? What?
Oh yeah, dude. If you have an infinite amount of mana, you can make an infinite amount of soul rings. You have infinite squared amounts of mana.
Let me tell you right now, Steven
Whoa.
loves doing infinite amount of things.
Yes, I do.
Infinitely.
All right. All right, Infinite boys. Let's move on to the grades. What are you giving this, Steven?
I'm gonna move on up, baby. I'm gonna give her an A.
Whoa,
You're giving
Jesus.
this an A?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sticking with C, man.
It's
That is
fine.
a
You can't see
pricey-
the infinite possibilities.
That's a pricey token effect.
I want to give this a B, like, but I'm probably still just gonna stick with Steve. Like, it's middle of the road to me.
I'm on a C for this one as well. The pump effect is cool. The token is very fucking expensive.
Well,
Infinite
Steven,
mana, baby.
your A brought this average up to a B.
That's why
There
I
you
did
go.
it.
Yep. But that is going to do it. That is all of the multicolored legendaries from the Brothers War. A lot of awesome cards. Go out there and build yourself a deck. Again, if you guys haven't seen it already, we do have two deck techs on the channel of Queen Kayla, bin-Kroog, and Mishra claimed by Gix. If you wanted to see both of those, check the description. While you're there, follow us on our Instagram, our Twitter, and our TikTok. That is at Guys at Magic. The links to those also in the description. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye bye now.
Bye bye now.
Bye-bye.